Hi, I'm Natalie Hakem. I'm 16 years old.
My name is Michael Coombs, and I am 18 years old.
Clara Blue, I'm 16.
This is the generation to speak up.
17 years old.
I'm Mark Trudas. I am 17.
Lily Strong, 16.
This conversation is overdue.
Because it is a part of life.
I have a lot of personal experience with depression and suicide.
I have a friend who attempted suicide who's been on life support for several months.
When I was in middle school, I had some troubles dealing with my emotions and dealing with all the stress in my life.
Teens, some who have lost classmates or friends to suicide, are part of a shift in how we talk about an issue often cloaked in shame.
If I can talk about it comfortably, then someone that I'm talking to can feel like they can open up.
It's super important to reduce that stigma.
There's so much potential being lost because someone feels hopeless for an instant in their life.
They're gathered at UW for the Day of Hope, a kind of show and tell of what they're doing in their communities to stop the second leading cause of death for teens and people in their 20s.
We like to think that just because we can't see it, it's not there.
At Mount Si High School in Snoqualmie, Mackenzie Davis and Lily Strong are part of a team of students who teach suicide prevention in health classes.
How did it feel to say the word suicide? Was it kind of awkward?
They tell their peers how to spot symptoms and what to say.
Michaela, sometimes when people are stressed, anxious, and fed up with school, they're thinking about suicide. Are you thinking about suicide?
This is a new effort meant to transform a school's conversations.
Even if they ask you not to tell, it's important to find that adult who can help. It's better to have a mad friend than a dead friend.
Over the summer, I was at the mall and a senior came up to me and was like, hey, you're the person who taught that suicide prevention program. That has actually helped me. I have helped my friend through his struggles, and he thought about suicide, but I got him help, and I thought that was extremely powerful.
Here's our telephone procedures.
After the bell rings for the day, teens like Alex Lee are on standby, ready to answer calls and texts from other young people who are grappling with their emotions.
I can definitely speak for myself in that I would feel more comfortable talking about something personal with another teenager than an adult.
This Teen Link call center, run by the Crisis Clinic, is one of just a handful in the country where adolescents, not adults, pick up the phones when young people make the call for help.
Last year, teen volunteers in this room answered more than 3,700 phone calls and chats from other teens seeking help. This center is staffed 365 days a year, even on holidays.
Lee joined Teen Link after some friends and classmates told him about their own struggles. He hopes to help others overcome anxiety by making sure they're in a safe place and directing them to counseling and other help.
It always feels great at the end of a long chat when they're like, wow, I feel better now. Thank you so much for talking to me.
These are resources that all teens need to have access to, and not just myself and my school.
Teens are also helping lead efforts to expand mental health resources. Earlier this year, Elsa Marsh and some of her classmates at Mount Si High School met with lawmakers in Olympia who are considering a new requirement that the state develop an online training program to help educators recognize and respond to behavioral distress among students. Marsh lost one of her childhood friends to suicide when she was just 13.
This has been a really just like a kind of healing way to take something like that and put it into something better.
They are no longer onlookers.
I can't stand by and just watch it happen.
It takes more than one person to do this.
I want to be there for people.
They're leaders.
What we do now kind of will define the future.
Show them that somebody actually cares.
This is a good place to start, but we have a long way to go.
It's time for us to all stand up and play our part in helping the people who, are our family, live in our community.
There are also some interesting experiments happening in schools, again, driven by students. For example, Overlake School, a private school in Redmond, is testing something called a health pass. That allows students to get out of a math homework assignment, no questions asked. Sometimes students stress out so much when they have a large workload, and that one extra hurdle, that one extra assignment can sometimes just seem like too much. It can really put them over the edge.
Wow, Ted, 3,700 calls. I was surprised by that number. Let's talk about the curriculum. Is there a common curriculum here, or is each school trying to figure out kind of how they can help?
The 29 schools using the Forefront curriculum are using a rigid curriculum that involves parents, teachers, and students. There's a very structured way that each of them go about doing that. But other school districts are using different programs, but many of them are finding out that when young people, when the high schoolers, the teens are the ones in charge, it's much more effective.
Wow.